Hey everybody, Greg and Rachel Denning. Welcome to Fantastic Family Fridays. We're still here on the beautiful coast of Costa Rica. It is sweltering hot, but gorgeous and fun. And man, we're just having a blast as a family, having so many great experiences. Having great experiences. And watching our kids just grow and mature and learn, and what a great time. And we're reading great books, just devouring some awesome books. It's really stimulating our minds and our lives, and just exciting things to share today. So today we're going to kind of follow up with what we've been doing. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, please go back and watch them. They all fit together.
You must do that. Do it, please.
So important you see how they all fit. So we're kind of continuing with that now.
Specifically continuing with, we talked about the morning ritual, we talked about the family morning routine. Last week we talked about the morning devotional, which fits into that, and then this is kind of expounding on more, which is a part of our family morning routine. This is something that doesn't necessarily have to be part of your morning routine if you don't have time, if you're not homeschooling, if you're sending your kids to school, if you're going to work. This is something you should still do, and we'll talk about that. We personally fit it into our morning routine, but that's us. So still do it, even if you don't do the homeschooling, you don't have the time in the morning. I just want to clarify that.
And we'll talk about the big picture and why it's so important. But this is it just fits perfectly into our daily routine now. We just start into our learning phase, right? And our educational time during each day where the kids are with us, and then they go off individually. And Rach, why don't you tell them about the name and why you picked the name?
Okay, so what I personally call this time, wait, let me just back up a little bit, because again, I want to reiterate here. We've said it before, and we'll keep saying it, all of these things, all of these different aspects, tips that we're talking about, it's not just like, oh, isn't that cute? Like, oh, it's a little craft you can do with your kids. No, it's not. This isn't like a craft you do with your kids. This type of stuff is the building blocks of how your family life should be developed. Because, again, going back to the big picture, that's one of the episodes, you got to have that big picture, and then you got to see that these are the puzzle pieces you're fitting in. What we're doing is creating here a time, a place, a space for you to be able to, for you to be able to bond with your family, to have a place to teach your children, to have a place to connect with them, okay? That's what this is all about. It's about creating these different places, these different spaces, these different opportunities, as many as you can, because the more you do this, obviously, the better the results you're going to get. So again, this what we're talking about today is just another one of those opportunities for you to fit in to your life, into your day, into your week, so that you have a place to connect with your kids, because this has to be intentional. Developing your family to be the way you want it to be, it has to be intentional. So that's what all of this is about, is being intentional, being deliberate, and making time for these things so that you can create a fantastic family. So
hold up, I feel a rant welling up inside me.
Oh, no.
If you don't get it, then you're always just going to be on the surface. You're always going to be shallow, and you'll be going around looking for cute little things to do, or you'll be checking off your little planner and patting yourself on the back for having checked through your little list. And you'll go through these little motions, and you'll try to pat yourself on the back, and you'll try to feel good, and you'll try to assuage your concerns, right? But unless you get it, unless you see the vision and you know why you do this, it's all going to be superficial. It's all just going to be going through the motions, just blah, 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 and oh, that was fun and that was cute. But we want you to connect. I mean, really deeply, powerfully connect. We want you to reach your kids. This is mentoring at its best, where your kids are inspired and motivated, and they get it.
And they admire and respect you as an individual, as a person, as their parent.
Again,
okay?
Shaping who they're becoming. We're not just doing this just for kicks and giggles. We're not going for some kind of little certificate so we can celebrate mediocrity. We're trying to make things happen. We're trying to create changes inside. You have to see that. And a big part of that is this love of learning, this desire to learn. Please, I beg of you, I wish I could reach through the camera and kind of grab a hold of you.
You're safer where you are.
You're safe there. Really, to just say, oh, it's about education, a real serious education. Please, please, I beg of you, never be so short-sighted that you think because you went to school, you have an education. Or because you think you're sending your kids to school, that they're getting an education. That's foundational, but it's not what an education really is.
And that's what we talked about in the other video. I think we called it the big picture. Watch that and you'll understand. Really, we expounded on that so much. We want you to watch it because it's good.
And this is another big reminder of that. I mean, this is huge. So don't ever think, oh, my kids are getting education, so I don't need to do what we're going to talk about today. This has to be done, whatever you do, whether you homeschool or world school or unschool or your public school or private school or online school. Whatever you do for your children's schooling or education, this needs to be added to it. This is another ingredient. And you're saying, yeah, but I don't have time and I don't have energy. To which I say, you do have time. God's given you 24 hours. This is awesome. I mean, you'll fit it in if it's a high priority for you because you'll cut out the other things that are less important. And you'll make this happen because this is huge. So what is it called?
Well, wait, I'm not even ready yet. I got to say something else. And kind of along those lines of, well, I don't have time. Are you going to have time when your kid is struggling, if they get involved in drugs or alcohol, or, you know, they're having whatever other kind of challenge, they end up pregnant, things like that? Are you going to have time then? Are you going to be able to fix the problem? Why not prevent it? Okay? That's what this is about, prevention. Because a lot of people will spend tons of time and tons of money on trying to fix problems that their kids have developed when they could have been prevented in the first place with things, simple things that just take intention to implement into your daily week.
Literally a few minutes a day. Let me give you some numbers on that, okay? And this is huge because I'm involved in so many youth programs and working with youth. I always have, and I tend to work with some of the youth who are struggling the most, right? There are programs and they are packed. There's not enough programs for all the problems. And these programs are packed where they're sending their kids off for months and paying, literally, I'm not kidding here, $10,000 to $15,000 a month for a recovery program for a teenager that went AWOL from a good home. Why? Because they were missing the connection, missing what I was talking about getting it. See, when I speak with emphasis to you, I hope you're not just in your room overwhelmed. It's because I've seen it. I've seen the effects. I've felt them. I was out on my own at an early age. I've seen what happens in the streets. I've talked to the kids who are struggling right now and what they're struggling with. I know what's going on. And those problems are huge. And it's an epidemic. And families are failing and falling apart. And kids are going AWOL at an unprecedented rate. And like Rachel's saying, do you have $10,000 a month and all that time to try to help a kid recover? I mean, and we're not pessimists here. We're not saying your kid's going to lose it. But if you aren't working on strengthening your family, your bond, and building up your kid, then what are you doing? By default, if you're not working on it, by default, atrophy happens. It's a slippery slope. So if you're not working on your marriage, then you're working on your divorce by default. Because that's what happens. The separation is natural. So you got to work on this. You got to make it happen. So you make the time. You make the energy. You make it a priority. And it's awesome.
Okay. That being said, that's just the intro to just simply another puzzle piece that goes into the big picture to make it all complete. And I have chosen to call this puzzle piece based on personal experience and, interacting with my kids. I call this Mommy Fun Time.
Or Daddy Fun Time.
Or Daddy Fun Time. And it's a very simple thing. For us, it's a part of our homeschooling routine. So we start out, we do our morning routine rituals personally. We do the morning family routine, including devotional, and then we do mommy fun time. And again, it's a way to connect, and it can take the form of many different things. It can include many different things. And it doesn't, like I said before, it doesn't have to be only with homeschool. You know, we include it with homeschool, and we do it right away because of the things it teaches and because of the ways it connects you with your kids. But if you're not homeschooling, include it anyways. So we're going to go over, you know, some of the things it includes, and what it can kind of look like, and why they're important, and why it's so powerful.
Well, the outcome here, you got to look at it and say, okay, what do we want? Well, we want to connect. I mean, you want that bond, right? And a lot of kids are just, they don't want to be around their parents. They'd rather spend time with their phone or their gadgets or their friends. But that bond, that connection between mom and dad and kids is critical and needs to be maintained. It doesn't have to end when your kids get older. A lot of people live this fear of this teenage year, and they'll wander off and they'll hate me. It's just such a sad view, and I can't stand that. And I invite you to study and learn. Brainstorm. Get that book, Brainstorm, and learn about what's happening in an adolescent mind, and start viewing your children not as teenagers but as youth, as young adults, and preparing. What an exciting time of change and adventure when they need you the most to support them and say, and be with them and protect them and say, hey, that's a crazy idea. Let's go do it together. So I make sure it's safe and it's good and it's fun, and to keep that bond. If they go into those years and they're adventuresome, but with that they have a sense of rebellion or trying to spite you, and you don't have that bond, whoo, man, not okay. So this time, we call it fun time, you know, daddy fun time, mommy fun time. Does that sound at all threatening? Does it sound at all boring? Does it sound at all like do your homework, or you have this assignment, you have a worksheet? No, you make it appealing, you make it fun. And I say one of the biggest factors here is you want your children to love learning.
And that's what I was going to say. One of the biggest objectives of mommy fun time or daddy fun time is that it's a place for learning, but more importantly, a place for learning that learning is fun. That's the objective. And so that's why we say, you know, even if your kids are going to school or whatever, you're having a time like this so that you can together learn that learning is fun, okay? So it can include a lot of different things and can happen in a lot of different ways. And really it's going to come down to, again, the reason I use mommy or daddy, what am I interested in? What am I passionate about? What am I learning about right now? What do I want to do? And you involve your kids in that. I'll just use an example right now of what we've been doing. The other day, we're in, you know, the beach. We're at the beach here in Costa Rica. We don't have all of our stuff with us, even that we usually travel with, but we have certain things, and so we're making use of those. We have flashcards. So we spent some time doing multiplication flashcards, and it was fun. We just sat out on the porch under the fan and made some little competitions and, you know, did some different things, and we had a fun time just doing flashcards. Also, we're working on our Spanish, and we have our Kindle Fire, where we use Duolingo, which is an awesome website, an awesome app. It's all free, and we were doing our Spanish, our Duolingo on the Kindle, and just together, you know, okay, we listen to it. What does it say? Oh, what does that mean? Let's translate it. Let's say that. Having a fun time, okay? It's relaxed. It's casual. It can involve academics. It can involve playing
adventure
games.
or
It can
life
involve
experience.
Adventure, especially with daddy
Usually
fun
on my
time,
side,
right?
that's what we're doing. We're trying to find cool things, experiences that make them uncomfortable, that challenge their comfort zone, that challenge their confidence and competence, that we go out and we experience culture in unique ways or situations. And it could be something as simple as, hey, we need to fix something on a car or motorcycle,
or
on a bike. We need to go go find it. We're in a new place. We need to go find someone that can help us fix a certain thing, or we need to go see if we can buy something we need.
And so they went out to buy some fish.
Yeah, good time. I mean, like, hey, we want fresh fish, but I'm not sure where we're gonna do it. So I take my kids out. We go out. We go asking around, and they're like, oh, you know, check by so and so, and go find them. And we go wandering around and finally find this little old couple, and he's just this old fisherman kind of limping around the house. He goes out fishing every morning, opens up this freezer truck full of fresh, amazing fish, and the kids are right there with me. They're learning about fishing. They're learning about working with people. You know, they get to get in this home and see how they live. And then they look in this freezer like, what is that? And what is that? And what is that? We're learning about the sea and the fish. And we come back and learn how to prepare this awesome fish that none of us ever eaten, and it was delicious. But it can include those kind of things. Or the other day we went to this incredible waterfall and these tiers. I mean, it was spectacular. And part of that was adventure for the older boys. And we did some serious rock climbing. It was pretty intense. But what a growing experience. And the older boys, they jumped off some big cliffs. And then we went on this big hike through the jungle. They had some serious growth experiences those days. I mean, they did things that tested their skills and their comfort level, and man, what a great bonding experience that was for me, because we went up way up high. The rest of the family couldn't come because of exposure, and so it was just me and the boys, and it was awesome. And you think, well, that's not education. Yeah, it is. And then we saw
the whole point again of all of these different activities. You know, you need to be intentional. What's happening, what's going on, again, with the bigger picture of education is not just reading and writing and arithmetic, okay? It's character development, it's getting out of your comfort zone, it's trying new things, it's developing self-esteem, it's having fun, it's bonding, okay? All of that's involved with this, and so all of these things that we're doing are developing that. With
great life lessons. I mean, a lot of these activities, I'll take the kids out and we'll see exposure to drugs, to alcohol, to prostitution. I mean, maybe that's for another subject, but we're also seeing the real side of life and the great side of life. We're seeing the negative and the positive. We're seeing how wealthy people live and how poor people live. And these are experiences that we're intentionally creating and having a great time together.
And this is something else that, you know, we will have another episode on, which is why we travel. Because you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't happen in my neighborhood, you know, and yeah, that is the case for a lot of people. I think I'm seeing a monkey or something over there. That is the case for a lot of people, which is why travel is so important, and we'll talk about that later. The point being at this time that you do what you can, okay? You take advantage of the resources you do have. Right now we have a pool where we're staying. So especially our youngest, our other kids could already swim, but especially our youngest, who's 3, well, not our youngest, I'm sorry. Sage is our youngest, and she's a baby. But Atlas, he's 3. Quit looking at the monkey.
Sorry.
You see him every day.
It's not a monkey. There's some kind of cool animal in the trees. That's part of being in Costa Rica. There's animals everywhere.
Atlas is 3, okay? He has not had as much exposure to water as our other kids when they were younger, and so he is learning how to swim for the first time.
So that's been the last week. That's been my daddy fun time.
The opportunity we have, and he is learning how to swim. And again, right away, we're seeing huge benefits from gaining a new skill. He's growing in confidence and ability. He's starting to do more things, other things around the house or on his own, you know, totally on his own, putting on his own shoes, getting dressed all by himself because he's gaining that confidence.
And now he's becoming a daredevil. He's trying to find the highest thing around the pool he can climb up on to jump off.
And that it's all interrelated. It's all part of this bigger picture of what education is. Okay? That's the intention, is that you're not just saying, oh cool, go to school and you can learn to read and write and all that. You're saying, who am I wanting these people to become? These people that I'm raising. You're raising people, okay? Who do I want them to become? A whole person, not just are they good at math, are they passing, are they getting the grade? Okay, we're not trying to teach just that.
Where are their levels, or how are their scores, and all that stuff.
Are they at the right reading level? We're talking about developing a person who's capable and confident and loves to learn. I mean,
And
that's what it's all about.
And I think skeptics and critics might kind of scoff at this and say, "Mama, oh, that doesn't matter." But these are the things that really matter. And it starts even really young. You might try to discount that, you try to brush that off. But we're telling you, those are the experiences that create the bonds and the memories and the feelings that the kid will grow up through life saying, yeah, man, I have this bond with my dad. We do so many fun things together. Oh yeah, my mom and my dad, they're always learning something new and they're always telling us about it and they love it. And the way they approach learning, the way they approach experiences, the way they work with other people, it all comes into their formation. So please don't discount it and don't think it matters. It totally matters.
Again, the reason why we do the mommy and daddy fun time is it's an educational time where you are personally being their teacher, their mentor, okay? And with the whole intention of to develop this love of learning and to focus on the things that really matter, because I've said it before, we focus too much on education as equaling academics. Education is the reading and the writing and all this. And we totally forgo the things that really matter, the development of values and the understanding of truth and learning how to have joy. Like one of the things we implement is kind of what we call, or what's been called, a joy school by some of our friends and authors, Richard and Linda Iyer. They've written books about teaching children joy. Okay, that at a young age, we're all concerned like, oh, my kindergartner or my preschooler needs to learn how to read and write and all these things, when really what children need to learn is how to preserve the joy and develop new joys, preserve the joys that are already there that they naturally have, and then learn new joys. Learn how to love life. Learn how to be kind and loving people, to share and to bond. That is what really matters. And so this is a time, this is your little joy school, you know, to have mommy or daddy fun time, to learn together, to try new things, to develop together, and to bond, and to learn about those aspects of life that are too often ignored in most traditional schooling and in our lifestyles in general. Unfortunately, our lifestyles are void of joy and happiness and
life, just
life.
being alive.
Yes.
So now I hope those of you with older kids don't discount this and like it's some childish thing. This will scale. It'll go all with you until your kids are
and you don't have
out
to
of
call
the
it that
home. Yeah, you don't. But that's the
teenager.
idea, I guess. You know, yeah, you don't want to go up to your 19-year-old and be like, "Hey, you ready for daddy fun time, buddy?" But the point is, hey, let's go do something fun, son. And we work on a project together. And again, we're not discounting education and learning. A lot of that's huge. A lot of my time, I'm reading phenomenal books and sharing it with them. And they love it. They love it. They ask me all the time.
Les Mis. They're constantly saying, "Dad, tell us what's happening in Les Mis." I mean, they're just so excited. They love the movie. They sing the songs. Okay, that doesn't happen just because we're like, "Here, kids, go watch a movie while we you know, get a break from you.
Come over here so I can
Go
tell you what
cartoon.
I learned." I mean, you get them. You make it fun and exciting. And I'm reading constantly. We both are. We're reading all the time, and we love it, and we're excited about what we're reading, and that shows, and it comes out, and we share it with our kids.
Go ahead.
Hold
your thought. Just this morning, Kaya came in and she's like, "Mom, what are you reading?" And I said, "Oh, I'm reading this book on, it's an overview of the history of the world." And she's like, "Oh, well, where are you at?" You know, she's modeling. She's doing what we've done. She's asking the questions that we ask. And it starts this conversation that now she's starting. She's 11, you know, and she's like, "Oh, where are you at?" "I'm reading about the Roman Empire." "Oh, really? Tell me about that." This is the conversation my 11-year-old daughter is having with me, okay? That doesn't happen by accident. It's deliberate.
It's intentional. It's deliberate, and it happens starting young. It's just over and over and over the habits they form with this, and so they're begging me to tell what I'm reading, you know, or I'm just like, "Oh, this is so good," and they're like, "What is it?" "Oh no, this is great." What? And I teach them. I teach them the principles, and then, you know, I'm reading this scientific book on the results of phenomenal health and energy and peak performance. Right? You share with the kids, oh, this is why we eat the way we eat, kids. And listen to this story and listen to what this person did. And you get that going and they get excited, right? And we've been practicing yoga while we're here. And they get into that, right? And they get into the health and nutrition. And my 10-year-old comes in last night. He'd created a whole 5-week calendar. And Mac, by himself, comes in and says, look, Dad. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. I said, what is this? He's like, this is my 10 years old. This is my calendar to be able to do 100 consecutive push-ups in 5 weeks. He created himself because we were over practicing yoga moves and I was teaching about the deltoids and how to strengthen and core strength and balance, right? And we're learning this, and so they're engaged, they're involved, and so it includes the sciences, it includes reading great books, it includes hands-on projects. I mean, all of this happens. So how do you make it, should we talk about how do you make it work? I mean, how do you make this happen effectively?
Well, I was just going to give an overview of what it looks like again. Okay, so basically, essentially, it's just setting aside a time. And you can make it as informal or as formal as you would like. There's times where I've made it formal, like, okay, now we're going to start Mommy Fun Time, and sometimes we'll start officially by singing a song, I like them to learn how to sing together, and so we'll practice singing a song together, or they'll each take a turn reciting a poem. Again, there's so many ways you can do this. It
definitely include music in it and all that.
It comes down to what you want, your vision of your family and of your kids and of your passions and interests that you would like to share. So we'll practice singing, we'll have them recite, we can do a spelling bee, we've played the hokey pokey before. I mean, we had the best time. Obviously, my kids have spent a lot of time out of the U.S. They had never heard of or played the hokey pokey, and they just loved it. We had so much fun doing that together, learning about the joy of the body from the Teaching Children Joy book. There's just so many elements that you can include, and it comes down again to having that big vision. Again, it's another place, we keep saying this, it's another place where you can take your big vision and you can plug in different elements into a spot in your day or your week, right? So you can take certain things and put them in your morning devotional, and now you can take other elements and put them into your Mommy Fun Time. And it's helping you to reach those long-term goals, that I want my kids to be like this, I want my kids to know this, I want to share learning with my kids, this is where and this is how, okay? So you've got to get that big picture, you've got to get that vision, those goals, and you just make time to learn, to have fun, to pursue interests and passions, drawing, art. They've been doing Grandma Fun Time here, okay? And it's not like it's official, like, oh, hey, let's do some Grandma Fun Time. They've been doing some painting, some watercoloring with my mom.
So it's whatever you want to learn about, whatever you're excited about. But you have to be involved. I'd like to ask a really searching question, and I hope you'll spend a lot of time thinking about this, and I'll share why we think it's so valuable. How involved are you in the development of your children? Now, the knee-jerk reaction, of course I am, I'm the parent. But let's step back a second. Really consider it. How intimately involved are you in your child's development? And for those of you who send your children to school, you have an even greater challenge because they're spending the bulk of their awake hours away from you. And so you've got to really connect. You've got to make it count. And how involved are you in their education and their skill development, what they're acquiring? And really spend some time thinking about that and analyzing that and ask yourself what you would say, and then take it from your kids' perspective. How would they answer that question? But here's a point I want to make. If you do it, they'll do it. I mean, that just works. If you want your child to have a musical inclination, you want to play an instrument, start playing. Start practicing. And usually the kids will excel you. Those pass right by you. But you've got to start. You want your kids to be fit and healthy? Eat great food and teach them why and eat it with them. Get down and start cranking out your push-ups. My 3-year-old runs around and does push-ups and sit-ups, and then all the kids. I mean, last night while I was reading to them as part of dad time, I was reading a great classic book to them, and they wanted to be more flexible. And so some of them were working on stretching. They were just sitting in these painful stretching positions, trying to listen and concentrate on the book because they want to be flexible. Others were sitting there cranking out sit-ups and push-ups, trying to reach their goals. And that's because that's what we do. We read, we exercise, we study, we implement, we try new things. We do hard things.
Really?
And they see it all, and they do it with us.
This really is, I mean, we're always amazed. It really is like magic, okay? All the time we'd be like, oh, we need to get the kids playing the ukulele more. We need to get them doing this more. And you go and you do it. You sit down and you start playing the ukulele. You start doing some push-ups. And it's like, it literally is like magic. They just start doing it. And then they're like, yeah, I'm going to set these goals, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And the way to continue that momentum is to keep doing it yourself. It really is that simple. And that can be hard, I realize, especially when you're, you know, we're very busy. Everyone's busy. Everyone has their obligations, their responsibilities. They've got jobs, they've got school, they've got work, whatever. But you have to decide what's important, and then you have to do it. And you've got to do it together. And I guess, you know, another reason why this is called Mommy Fun Time or Daddy Fun Time is to also remember that we are involved, okay? It's Mommy Fun Time. I'm having a fun time as well.
Yep.
Because I am with my kids and we are learning together. And that's fun. And that's how it should be. Because as families, we should want to be together and we should want to have spend time together. And it should be enjoyable.
And we, you know, we've met so many families, and I've worked with a lot of families, a lot of couples, and seen it in the youth and in the adults. You know, you get this situation where, you know, parents come home, they're exhausted, they plop on the couch, they turn on the TV, and they go do your homework, and go practice the piano, and go fix the lawnmower. And they sit there and watch TV. What does a kid want to do? He wants to sit down and watch TV and follow suit. But pick a world-class hobby. Pick a skill. Pick something maybe you've always dreamed about but neglected. That's something that's great, you know, that's elevated, that's refined, that's inspiring. Pick it and do it with them. Or something.
Even just do the work together. Okay, maybe there is something that needs to be fixed, or there's a leak, or there's whatever. All these things that you have to do. Do it with your kids.
And teach them, please. Teach them. Oh, man.
Yeah, make it something that is a bonding experience instead of being divided once more. Because we are divided too much from our families. We need more bonding time.
And these create incredible teaching moments. Right? Teaching moments don't always occur. Your kids aren't turned on all the time and just open for learning. Those
and
teaching
it doesn't
moments,
have to be like that. You know, you don't have to be like, okay, we're doing this together and I'm going to teach you something. Just do it together.
But then then the teaching moments come and you get talking, you're bonding. But kind of back to competence, I've met so many young adults that they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to change a flat tire. They burn up the motor in their car because they didn't know cars had oil in the engine. I just met so many people. They're like, seriously? And so you're building life skills too. So when your kid finally leaves the house, they're confident. They're confident. Like, I've done this with my dad 100 times. And I've learned that with my mom. And they have that. This is just so exciting. It's so good. And you see what I'm saying? You're probably just overwhelmed and saying, how can I fit this all in and do all this? But it's just a little time each day, and it adds up over and over, and you have all these experiences, right? And all this knowledge that you've gained on just spending a little bit of time together each day, learning, growing, experiencing. It's awesome. It really is. And the rewards and the results are phenomenal.
And we say that about every single ingredient we talk about. But the truth is, you know, start where you can. And start implementing one thing at a time and make it a habit. And then add a new thing and make that a habit. And pretty soon, you really are going to have this great conglomerate of habits and activities and practices that now are becoming natural They're just becoming a part of your family culture, and it's creating a fantastic family. That's really what it is. So you don't need to be overwhelmed. You don't need to be, you know, just like, whatever, I can't do this. Just start small. Start where you can. Start implementing mommy or daddy fun time 1 time a week. And then
just do it. Go after it, man. Go all the way. I mean, go gangbusters.
Choose your style.
Choose your style. My style is go for it and make it happen. Well, I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. Yes, you do. You can make it happen. If you have low energy, send me an email and I'll help you get energy. There's a science to it. I mean, you can get so much more energy in your life. Seriously. Well, this is for a whole nother thing. But if you're interested, let me know. Seriously. If you're interested, I can help you put together a whole program for energy, for even meal plans, what you're eating, when you're eating. Maybe you're not even sleeping at night and you're stressed out and you can't even function straight without pounding caffeine and all that stuff. I mean, there's a way to get your body and your family in this optimal condition. I think we'll do a class on that, on health, family health, because it's so important, energy levels. Maybe we'll do that one soon. So you can feel alive and energized, and you can feel productive and effective and efficient, and so you're not overwhelmed by all the stuff. You're like, yeah, this is just part of our life. This is what we do. We make it happen. It's awesome. It's wow factor. I mean, it's great, and we're getting the results we want. Go for it. Do it. Try it, and make this a part of your life. And if I might just put it apart here, I mean, I do this frequently. This is your child's life. This is their childhood. This is what they're going to look back on for the rest of their life. This is what they're going to tell their friends about. This is what they're going to tell their spouse about. This is what they're going to tell their own children about. How I grew up. Well, what will they say? What will they remember? What will stand out? And I hope this is a part of it. That your children look back and be like, man, I did so many cool things with my parents. And we just have a tight relationship. We learned so much together. And I just had the best childhood a kid could ever want. And this will be part of that. I sincerely believe that.
Amen.
So, we want to know how it goes. In the comments, tell us how it goes. Tell us what you're going to try. Tell us what you have tried. Tell us, try something. Let us know how it goes. Let's get in the conversation. Let's get it happen. Share this video. Share it with people. Share it with your friends, with your family. Let's get out there. Let's help everyone we know and love create a fantastic family culture. So this week, start up your mommy fun time, your daddy fun time, and make it awesome. Reach upward.